Welcome to the deep dive. If you were online around Sunday, February 15th, 2026, you probably felt the shift. The timeline just sort of accelerated.
It really did. I mean, it felt like 6 months of AI news just crammed into a single afternoon.
Yeah, they're calling it the Great Convergence. Within a 17-hour window, 5 different major AI labs dropped frontier models. It was absolute chaos. But for today's deep dive, we are going to apply some discipline.
Right.
We are going to ignore about 80% of that noise to focus exclusively on the biggest mover in the room, which is OpenAI.
And I think that's the exact right call. Because amidst all that chaos, OpenAI didn't just release a chatbot update. They fundamentally changed the architecture of how we actually interact with intelligence.
Yeah.
This is the week they stopped trying to build a better search engine and basically started building a digital employee.
And we have a lot to get through for you today. We're talking about the launch of GPT-4.5, codenamed Strawberry. We are talking about the shift to agentic workflows where the AI actually does the work for you.
Right.
And we need to talk about the massive, slightly terrifying infrastructure required to run it all.
From crashing laptops with massive memory leaks to, well, building gigawatt-scale power plants in India, it was a week of extreme scale on both ends of the spectrum.
So let's just cut through the hype. We have the papers, we have the leak reports, and the API docs from February 15th through the 21st. We're going to figure out if you just hired a new digital employee or if you just installed a very expensive, very buggy piece of software.
Let's dive in.
I want to start with the brain itself. Sunday, February 15th, the headline from Medium and Reddit analysis boards was everywhere. OpenAI releases GPT-4.5 or Strawberry. And, everyone was expecting this to be an incremental update to GPT-4o, was it?
No, not at all. And the clue is really in the architecture. For the last few years, we've been in this era of fast thinking.
Right.
You ask a chatbot a question, and it immediately starts spitting out tokens based on probability. It's like an improv actor.
Yeah.
It needs to stop to think. It just has to keep talking to keep the scene going.
It's predicting the next word, like autocomplete on steroids.
Exactly. GPT 4.5 introduces a slow thinking loop. So when you give it a complex prompt, it doesn't answer immediately. It engages in what we call test time compute. It spins up a reasoning chain, it generates a hypothesis, tests that hypothesis internally, and then gives you the answer.
So it's basically having a monologue with itself before it talks to you.
Precisely. And that pause, that compute spend, is the difference between sounding smart and actually being correct. This matters because it brings research-grade reasoning to the table. And we got the receipts for this on February 20th.
From the OpenAI newsroom. The headline was, OpenAI's internal model tackles first proof challenge. I saw this circulating on the math forums. These weren't SAT questions, right?
From it. This was OpenAI showing off. They threw 10 expert-level unsolved or partially solved math research problems at the internal version of this model. These are problems that usually require a PhD candidate weeks to derive.
And the scoreboard.
Of the 10 problems, expert feedback confirmed that for 5 of them, specifically problems 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10, the model's proof attempts were highly likely to be correct.
That's a very specific phrasing. Highly likely. Did it solve them or not?
Well, that's the nuance of higher mathematics. You can't just check the back of the book, because the book hasn't been written yet. A human mathematician has to review the logic line by line. But the fact that it derived a formal logic structure that holds up to expert scrutiny is a massive leap from asking it to write an email.
It demonstrates a maturing capability in formal logic.
It does. It shows the model is understanding the rules of the universe it's operating in. But, and this is important, it's not magic. On February 17th, we got a reality check.
Right, the new benchmark that dropped.
Yeah, according to a Quinn summary of an OpenAI blog post, the headline was, New Reasoning Benchmark Released. It's called Humanity's Last Exam.
Which is a ridiculously dramatic name.
It is, but it's tough. It's 3,000 questions across 100 disciplines, designed specifically to stump current AI. They ran the new O1 model part of this reasoning family against it.
And how did it do?
26.6% accuracy.
Ouch. So it failed 3 out of 4 times.
It did. And that's the real takeaway here. Why it matters is it shows that despite the hype, there is still massive headroom for growth. We haven't solved artificial general intelligence yet. We've built a model that is excellent at formal, rigid logic like math proofs, but when you throw it into the messy, cross-disciplinary nuance of the real world, it really struggles.
So the brain is getting smarter, but it's lopsided. It's kind of like a savant.
Exactly. But here's where it gets interesting, and perhaps a little concerning. If it's good at logic and it's good at code,
It should be good at finding holes in code.
Which brings us to the EVMbench update from February 18th.
The headline from OpenAI Research, summarized by Grok, was Introducing EVMbench with Paradigm.
Right. OpenAI partnered with Paradigm to test if these agents could look at a smart contract, which is basically the code that holds money in decentralized finance, and find vulnerabilities in it.
I'm guessing they found them?
The new GPT-5.3 codex model didn't just find them. In exploit mode, it successfully hacked the contracts 72.2% of the time. That is double the previous performance.
Wait, pause. If you are a bank or a DeFi protocol and you see that number, you're terrified. This is an automated hacking machine.
It is. Why it matters is that as agents handle money, the ability to audit and exploit code becomes a critical safety metric. If you use it to check your code before you deploy, it's a safety tool. But it highlights the dual-use nature of this convergence. The same reasoning capability that solves a math proof can also derive a logic chain to drain a crypto wallet.
It's a tool that amplifies capability. If you're a builder, you build faster. If you're a breaker, you break faster.
Precisely. And speaking of building, OpenAI isn't just selling us the brain anymore. They're trying to sell us the desk, the computer, and the office it works in. This week felt like the official beginning of the Codex era.
Yeah, if you looked at ChatGPT on February 19th, it looked totally different. The ChatGPT release notes had the headline, ChatGPT gains interactive coding features.
This is a huge shift in the user experience. ChatGPT is no longer just a text generator. It's becoming an integrated development environment, an IDE.
I actually played with this. You can now write and edit code directly in the chat, split the screen to review changes, and even render diagrams or mini-apps right there in the window.
It's about reducing friction, moving it from a chat interface to a collaborative workspace. But the bigger technical leap happened on February 20th with the context window expansion for thinking models.
According to Yatori Scout and the release notes, the headline was Context Window Expanded for Thinking Models. They bumped it to 256,000 tokens.
The total number is impressive, but the devil is in the details here. It's split into 128,000 tokens for input and 128,000 for output. That output buffer is the game changer.
Because usually the model just cuts off if it talks too long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Previously, if you asked an AI to write a massive technical report or generate a full software module, it would hit a wall and stop. It's like hiring an employee who falls asleep after speaking 500 words.
Right.
With 128,000 tokens of output, the model can generate massive, comprehensive files, entire code bases in one go. It's crucial for agentic work, where the AI is supposed to go off and do a job without constant hand-holding.
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
Because in practice, the Codex era had a really rough opening week. I read about some serious technical hiccups.
Hiccups might be putting it lightly. The Codex desktop app, which matured mid-February and allows for isolated work trees and local execution, had a very rough week.
Talk to me about the memory leaks. We saw this in GitHub issues.
So on February 18th, developers using the new Codex desktop app started noticing their computers grinding to a complete halt.
Like the spinning wheel of death.
Worse, the app was creating zombie processes. It would spawn a child process to do a task, finish the task, but fail to kill the process. They just kept stacking up in the background, eating resources.
They just kept eating RAM.
Yes. One report said the app consumed up to 37 gigabytes of RAM.
37 gigabytes. I don't know many consumer laptops that even have 32 gigs, let alone 37 to spare for one single app.
Exactly. Why it matters is it highlights the fragility of this cloud-native agentic development. We want AI employees that run in the background and do work for us, but if the tools break or if they eat all your memory, the employee stops working.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the outage.
The cloud outage from the OpenAI status page on February 16th.
Right. The Codex cloud went down for about 20 minutes due to increased error rates.
Which really underscores the fragility of this whole vision, doesn't it? We're talking about AI employees that run our businesses, but if the cloud goes down or if the app eats all your RAM, your employee is essentially in a coma.
It's a reminder that we are still in the early experimental days of agentic infrastructure. The model is a genius sometimes, but the wrapper, the software infrastructure delivering it, is still beta quality. We are trying to run a Ferrari engine inside a cardboard box.
We also saw some updates to deep research. Quen summarized the OpenAI platform docs from February 16th and 17th. Deep research gains visuals and API.
Yes, they launched the O3 Mini Deep Research API and added a visual browser to the agent. It can now actually see web content. This enables much more complex enterprise research automation that requires visual context, like reading charts or layouts.
And they are forcing people to upgrade. On February 19th, the developer community was buzzing because OpenAI retired the GPT-5 legacy models and the ChatGPT-4o latest API
They
alias.
are consolidating the model family. They're pushing developers toward the newer GPT 5.2 and Strawberry architectures, even though there's been some developer pushback on losing specific older model behaviors.
So the software side is messy, but moving incredibly fast. Let's zoom out. Way out. From crashing laptops to gigawatt data centers, there was a massive announcement regarding India this week.
This is the sovereign AI piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
On February 18th and 19th, OpenAI announced a partnership with the Tata Group in India.
The OpenAI newsroom headline was Sovereign AI Infrastructure Partnership with Tata Group. And the numbers here are staggering.
They are. They are starting with 100 megawatts of capacity with a roadmap to scale to 1 gigawatt. To put that in perspective, 1 gigawatt is enough to power a medium-sized city. This is the Stargate project concept coming to life.
Why India? And why use the term sovereign AI?
Sovereign AI is the key phrase here.
Yeah.
Nations are realizing that they don't want their data, their government records, their corporate secrets being processed on servers in the US or Europe. They want data residency. Why this matters is this deal moves OpenAI from just being a software vendor to being an infrastructure provider. They're building the power plants and the data centers in the country to ensure that Indian enterprises and the government have control over their own AI intelligence.
It's a massive pivot. They are literally becoming a utility company.
In a way, yes. And when you become a utility, the expectations for safety and reliability change completely. Which brings us to the governance controversy of the week.
The mission statement.
The mission statement.
So, Boom Live reported on February 16th that IRS filings surfaced showing a change in OpenAI's official mission statement. What exactly changed according to these filings?
Well, the analysis of the filings revealed OpenAI removed the word safely from its mission statement. The previous mission included the phrase unconstrained by a need to generate financial return. That is gone. And the explicit commitment to safely building AGI was edited out of that specific document.
That feels incredibly symbolic.
It signals the tension between their transition to a for-profit structure and their original safety mandates. And regulators noticed. Why it matters is it draws intense scrutiny. You can't just delete safely from your mission without raising eyebrows, especially when you are building gigawatt-scale supercomputers.
We should be clear, we are just reporting what the filings show and what the analysts are pointing out. But at the same time, OpenAI is funding safety research externally.
They are. On February 19th, the OpenAI newsroom headline was $7.5 million grant to the Alignment Project.
So they committed $7.5 million to the UK AI Security Institute's project.
Yes, to fund independent safety research. It shows OpenAI is funding external checks and balances. They are acknowledging that safety research needs to exist outside their own walls.
We also saw some legal and safety friction on the ground this week. Real-world incidents where the rubber meets the road.
Two incidents really stood out. First, according to Mashable on February 18th, a judge ordered OpenAI to stop using the term cameo in its Sora app due to trademark infringement.
Standard branding clash. Corporate stuff.
Exactly. But the second one, reported by CBC News on February 21st, is much more serious. Canadian officials raised concerns after OpenAI flagged, but did not immediately report a user involved in a shooting in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia.
So the system flagged the user's intent or actions, but the protocol to notify authorities wasn't immediate.
Correct. Why this matters is it highlights the life or death responsibility of monitoring user intent. As these models scale, the moderation challenge becomes nearly impossible for humans to manage alone. It's an ethical minefield.
And they are scaling incredibly fast. Demand-Sage reported on February 21st that ChatGPT usage doubled year over year to 800 million weekly active users.
800 million. When you have nearly a billion users, you cannot rely on human moderators to review every flag. You need automated safety systems that work flawlessly. Tumbler Ridge showed us that the protocols aren't perfect yet.
It grounds all the sovereign infra and Strawberry hype in reality. We're deploying incredibly capable systems, but we're struggling to manage the trademark of a button or smoothly report a crime.
And yet, the expansion continues into the physical world. The information had a leak on the 21st about hardware.
Right. Reports surfaced of a $200 to $300 camera-equipped smart speaker planned for 2027.
The software dominance is established. Moving to physical devices is the next frontier. They want to be the ambient intelligence layer of the world. Software, hardware, and infrastructure.
So let's pull this all together, the great convergence. We have a model that can think for itself with Strawberry, tools that let it write its own code with Codex, and a plan to build nuclear-scale power plants to run it all. What is the takeaway for you, the listener, who is just trying to do your job and understand where this is going?
The takeaway is that the chatting era is over. We are entering the employing era,
Meaning?
meaning you need to stop treating these tools like search engines.
Yeah.
With GPT 4.5 and the large output windows, you should be giving them jobs. Write this module, audit this contract, analyze this data set.
Right.
But, and this is the big, but you have to manage them like a junior employee who is brilliant but prone to mistakes and might accidentally crash your computer.
Trust, but verify. And maybe keep your task manager open to check your RAM usage.
Definitely keep Task Manager open. If you see it hit 37 gigs, pull the plug.
It feels like we are at a tipping point. The technology is maturing faster than our ability to govern it or even just run it stably on our laptops.
We are building the plane while flying it, and we just swapped out the engine for a rocket booster.
I want to leave you with a thought. OpenAI removed safely from their mission statement the exact same week they announced infrastructure capable of powering a major city. They are becoming a utility, like electricity or water. But if the power grid goes down, the lights go out. If the Codex cloud goes down, or if a safety protocol fails like it did in Tumbler Ridge, the consequences are no longer just a bad software update. They are real-world infrastructure failures. Are we ready for AI to be that structural to our daily lives?
That is the big question. When the software becomes the grid, the stakes are totally different.
It's definitely something to think about. If you want to dive deeper into the specific benchmarks or the proof submissions we talked about today, check out the original sources we mentioned. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Catch you next time.